is Kieran Pruitt, and this is my Understanding Academic Demands video assignment. I am enrolled in Foundation of Literacy 2, CRN 20048. Vocabulary, language, function, syntax, and discourse are the key components of language demands. Vocabulary includes words, phrases, and symbols that are used in general academic vocabulary settings. Use vocabulary in the classroom setting by having discussions on plot, characters, comparing and analyzing and applying it into the units. A lot of vocabulary is learned through reading literatures and literary works. Language functions is the next component, and that is what the students do, and it focuses on the purpose for how language is used in academic settings as well as application to real-world settings. So it's used in the classroom by comparing, explaining, and describing different topics related to the literary works that you often get your vocabulary from and things like that. Different stories that you use. You take those language functions and you discuss the way the language is used and the topics in the story. Syntax is next, and that's the rules for organizing words and symbols in a manner that convey a meaning. So this is really important. I think syntax is one of the most important. I think they're all important components, but I think syntax is extremely important because if our words are not organized correctly, there is no meaning behind what we say. And I think our students will struggle with that if we don't express the importance of syntax and conveying meaning. So this is used in classrooms by practice. So one of the biggest practice methods is teaching sequencing words. So first, next, last, first, then, last, whatever that may look like. You have to teach your students to use that in their writing, and so that then they will not only know how to write in that manner, but they will know how to read in that manner. So they'll know that if they read a story and it says first, the character went to the store, then the character picked up bananas, lastly the character loaded the car and went home, they understand that the sequencing is important. And if they would have just said all the words and put them in no specific order and they'd be like last, first, then, it would not have made sense. So I think it's important to focus on syntax and focus on order. And the last key component is discourse. And discourse has distinctive language and that we use in the classroom to represent knowledge, and it's used by writing text and composing essays. So we can teach our students after syntax. I think syntax is important to come first because we have to teach how to discuss and how to sequence our things and how to put our words in a manner that will make sense and our students will be able to understand them. But then after that, we can take our students through the writing process and teach them how to write and how to compose essays and compose short stories and whatever that looks like, so that they get the practice of using discourse in their writing. So determining whether the use of syntax or discourse is needed is difficult. But when you look at it from what the meaning of syntax and what the meaning of discourse is, it is much easier to understand. So determining which one is needed is based on the level of the students. So syntax comes when students are learning composure and correct order of words, and because they're not going to be able to practice that discourse in the classroom like we talked about if they don't know what order. They're not going to be able to compose an essay if they don't know how to form a sentence. So syntax is definitely used for lower levels and lower students, maybe small groups of students, whatever that looks like, whatever grade you're teaching. When they learn to form their sentences and paragraphs in correct orders that do make sense, then we can move on to discourse, where we teach them how to compose long text, and we can move from paragraphs to essays to short stories and explain to them how the sequencing matters. So it's a systematic teaching method. Like just about everything that we talked about is systematic, and how important it is to work in a system. Syntax to discourse is the exact same way.